It's a change in pH, because we don't want that changing all of a sudden. All right, so on the other side, if our water is too acidic, what do you think will happen to our pipes? They will dissolve. That's exactly right. I went to a gentleman's house in Thomaston, and I tested the water around his house. I tested the water in his well, and I tested the water in a natural spring that was on his property. And the water in his spring, in the well, and in the streams around his home is 5 on the pH scale. So that is it acidic or basic? It's acidic. Very good. It's acidic. So that means that his pipe system is eventually going to be completely dissolved by the water running through it. Now he can drink it safely. That's not going to hurt him. But the problem is that it's going to damage the infrastructure. So when we start talking once again about piping systems and about moving water through there, the pH is very important. Because on one hand, you're going to have mineral buildup, and on the other hand, you're going to have corrosiveness. So what do we do to solve that problem? Let's say on the acidic side. You're stretching, but I'm going to make you answer. Give me a guess. What do you think we do on the acidic side? If it's too acidic, what kind of things could we do to help solve that issue?
Lower it.
Lower it. That's exactly right. You lower it. So how do we lower it? With chemicals, certain chemicals. All right, here, we'll go back to a elementary school experiment. What happens when you put baking soda and vinegar together?
Explodes.
It explodes, but what is actually happening?
Reaction.
What kind of chemical reaction? You have vinegar, which is a what? Acid. And you have baking soda, which is a base. And you put them together. What are they doing? They're neutralizing each other. It creates carbon dioxide like crazy. That's where you get that awesome explosion. But they're neutralizing each other. So, coming back to what you said, we're going to neutralize that acid. So, there are a lot of things that go into the creation of pipe systems. Once again, just to go back over, we all know where you get your water. Where do you get your drinking water? Very first place. Where is it?
Flint River.
Where is it?
Flint River.
Excellent. Flint River. So we start at the Flint River. It goes to our reservoirs, which go to our water treatment plants, where it is cleaned very, very carefully. And then it is sent to the water towers, which feed your homes. It goes to your homes. From your homes, it goes to a wastewater treatment plant. And from a wastewater treatment plant, it goes back out into nature, where it will be used all over again. So, are storm water systems connected to water systems? Storm water systems connected to water systems? No, they're not. Are they clean or filtered? Sadly, no, they're not. So that means that anything that goes down a drain goes straight into a creek or a stream. Remember that all creeks or streams live to rivers and bigger bodies of water. Most of those rivers feed people's drinking water. So anything we pour down a drain, we're basically pouring straight into our drinking water. So just keep that in mind for the future. All right, any other questions for me before I leave you alone? Yes, sir.
How much was the camera?
How much was the camera? Do you remember?
Ooh, thousands.
$15,000. $15,000. Yes.
Maybe 10, but.
No, this one was 15. Now the possum was.
Ooh, that.
Was that $100,000 total? It was $100,000 for the possum, the computer system, the trailer, and everything in that whole system. It was $100,000 for the possum system.
I need to get that first.
The pipe. There's a pipe that we're hoping to replace. Very, very important pipe that we're hoping to replace for stormwater. It's going to cost us close to $1 million to replace that pipe. The possum is about this big. Like I said, it's like an RC car. It's got big tires. It's not that big. We don't want it to be big because it's got to fit in those water, wastewater, or storm drains, those pipes. All right? Any other questions? We have kind of cool gadgets that we like to use all the time, but you know, technology is always being updated so that way we can find better ways, more efficient ways to look at our piping system and hopefully make them better. So just random, because we're talking about technology real quick. So we know that when we get our drinking water, it can still have some things in it. One of the biggest problems that we in the water industry face these days are pharmaceuticals. So people either dump them down the toilet, they dump them down the sink, or they just throw them out. And somehow these pharmaceuticals, I mean, it can be anything. I mean, think about it. Headache medication, all kinds of stuff. These pharmaceuticals actually affect the water. They affect what's in the water. They can affect the animals in the water. There are certain cases where we have fish who are all either male or female and not the other. Frogs the same way. So there's a lot of problems going on with pharmaceuticals. So there is actually a system that has been developed that uses reverse osmosis to filter this water so finely that it pulls the pharmaceuticals out of the water. There's actually a place up in Clayton County has that. It's pretty cool. It's amazing. But when we start talking about money, about how you put in these systems, that is a high $1-million system. So gadgets are fun, but they cost a lot of money. Any other questions? By the way, that's where your taxpayer money is going and where your water bill money goes. So every time somebody complains about your water bill, you go, yes, but we're getting really cool stuff that's going to help the environment and make our water cleaner. Just saying. Anything else? Any other questions? If you are interested later on in a position, we have a lot of different positions in stormwater and water. If you're like me and you want to be outside, there's a position for you. You can do things like this where you go into classrooms and you teach. You can do things like this one does for years, which is to slosh around in a creek or stream, which is also one of my favorite things. So literally you get paid to walk around in water and record what the condition of that water is and can record the condition of what our pipe system is. There are also positions like GIS systems, which are Geographical Information Systems, which use fantastic computers and use ArcGIS to map out everything we have in the city. So at any point in time, I should be able to pull up a picture and a record and maybe even a video of any section of pipe in the city. All through a mapping system. There are, let's see, what other technology type fun jobs do we have? I mean, there are actually water operators. You could work inside the water treatment facility. So you know chemistry, obviously, because you're going to be adding chemicals. You're going to be making sure that that water is balanced and is going out to the people. You can do that. There are also other boots on the ground type jobs. People that work in wastewater, God bless them, that is a job that I'm not sure I could do. I mean, let's be honest, that's a rough job. And I'm so grateful for them. They do a really good job with that. They are fantastic. I'm trying to think of anything else fun that we do. We do a lot of stuff. I think it's all fun because if I had the choice of being inside or outside, I want to be outside. Okay, so that's basically what I had to tell you today. Yes, sir.
Where is the city of Griffin wastewater treatment plant?
So we have 4 different locations that treat water. So one of them is on County Line Road. Anybody know where County Line Road is? County Line Road, which is between Lamar County and Spalding County, we have a wastewater treatment facility called Potato Creek. Actually, I think they just changed the name. It's actually just been upgraded. I'm trying to remember how much money they put into that place. It's a $9 million upgrade. Yeah. It's huge. It's massive. They changed the whole facility. They just totally renovated it, which is fantastic because it means we're going to be better at cleaning the wastewater that comes from us. So there's Potato Creek. Then we have Shoal Creek, which is a much smaller facility that's over off of Hill Street. And then we have no, I'm sorry, that was Cabin Creek. We have Shoal Creek, and that one is linked to the Blanton Mill spray fields. So we have a facility that the way we treat the water is a little different. We clean it for the most part. We make sure there's nothing scary in it. But then that water is actually sprayed out onto a piece of property. The whole point of that is that it sinks into the ground and the soil and the grass filter and clean that water before it slowly makes its way through the soil, through the ground, back to the Flint River. But that is out near the Flint River. That is the Blanton Mill spray field. So we actually have 4 different facilities that clean our wastewater in Griffin. We may one day have a 5th. We're trying to buy a place, but we'll see.
Do landfills, do you guys check around landfills to see how the water seeps through the landfill and into the groundwater?
That's an excellent question. So with landfills, with the landfill that is on the is just going out 16. That is a private facility that is state-run. So we, local county people, would not deal with them. It's state would deal with that. So, but however, they do have to monitor around their site. So when we think about trash and what happens when that trash breaks down, it creates something pretty gross. All right, you've seen it. I know you have. If any ever time you've pulled that trash bag out of the trash can and there's that gross liquid at the bottom, you know what I'm talking about? Nod your head if you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, you've seen it. It stinks, it's gross, it's disgusting. That's called leachate. So as these things break down, all that food, the trash, all that gross stuff starts to break down and compress, it creates this liquid that is fairly toxic. And let's just put it, it's toxic. And that can, if a landfill is not properly lined, it can actually sink into the groundwater and create a problem with groundwater pollution. However, the two that we have on the outside of Spalding County, both of those are lined facilities, which means they have a lining in the bottom to make sure that leachate cannot enter into our groundwater. They have to do certain things to make sure that they do something with it. It's kind of a gross system. Now, the one that I know of in Henry County that's not lined, that's pretty scary. That means that leachate is actually leaking into a stream that is directly behind. And I've gone over there and I've tested it in Henry County. I tested it, and the pH, the water chemistry is all off. It's all messed up. So that is definitely something that we have to be very careful about. You guys you obviously heard about Harvey, right? Well, one of the biggest things that happened with Harvey is that it flooded several sites that are called Superfund sites. These Superfund sites are sites that are so toxic, so polluted, that they have been shut down, and now the government is pumping millions of dollars to try and clean up the mess that was made at these sites. They're so toxic. So one of those things that was a very big, scary thing that we were worried about the flood releasing into the soil, and it did, is something called dioxin. It is very toxic to humans and all kinds of stuff. So that is something that is an issue that they are addressing right now due to that problem. I could go on into some food Superfund sites and hydrogeology for hours, so I won't get into it because once I stop, I'll never stop ever again. You know what I mean. But any other questions? It's fun if you like to be outdoors, and I do. I love science. I like to be outside. I deal with a lot of the natural stuff, the biological stuff, so fish and macroinvertebrates, which are bugs. We also do the water chemistry stuff. We take chemical samples of 18 different stream sites. Every 3 months we go in, and these streams are very specific streams. They're what they're called. They're on the 303D list, which means that they are not reaching their designated use, whether that be for fishing, recreation, or drinking water. They're polluted in a way that we need to test them. So we go out every 3 months, we test these things, and we submit all these tests, all these results to the state. So EPD gets all of our test results every year. And so it's fun. I love it. I'd rather be outside. So makes me happy.
Well, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. By the way, if you ever want me to come in, we can do chemical. I can bring chemical kits. We can do chemical. They can participate and do some water chemistry if they want.
Cool.